beep waiting for that. That makes it
Don't forget the
easier
timer.
for me. No, I know, that's fine. Good morning, Twyla.
Is it morning, Al?
Yes, it is.
We do not know because they might be watching this in the evening.
We do not know. Good morning,
day.
good people.
Good day, everyone.
Good
We're
day.
filming from Australia.
No, we're not.
Where can we go? We're not really.
We're
No.
filming from downtown Al's kitchen.
Yay! Al's Kitchen
All
in
right.
beautiful El Dorado Hills.
So what are we going to do today?
Well, today is very significant day for me because it was 28 years ago that my dad died. March 24th. And 1992. And I just want to mention it because he died of a massive heart attack mowing his yard where I had lived since I was 4 years old. And this was after his quintuple bypass surgery. And it's just a reminder that we do want to stay healthy. He died at the age of 62, a few months before he turned 62. And I remember even way back then, I had heard for some reason of the McDougall Center. And I had offered, I go, Dad, why don't you go to this? And, you know, this was after his bypass surgery. He goes, no, if I can't eat the way I want, no sense of living.
I'd rather not.
And I still have guilt trips about that because he would ask me to still make chocolate chip cookies, which at that time I was making, you know, with the regular butter and eggs and all that. Or I don't know if you remember this cake. It used to be called Tunnel of Fudge, and you made it in a bundt pan, and it was loaded with fat and all that kind of stuff. And so he didn't want to go to McDougall, and I really wanted him to go, and then got the call March 24th that he had died of a massive heart attack. And so I always try to remember that. And then my younger sister, she died at the age of 52, and not on March 24th, but also due to heart issues and stuff. And, you know, it's really tough. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here or negative Nancy, but it does make you realize that you do want to live healthier. Al, why don't you talk about that? Because
Yes, because my dad died at 59 of a massive heart attack. It was his third, and back then, they had to be in the late 50s. They said the third one is always the one that got you. This was way before they had bypass surgery or anything like that. So I figured my life was destined, I was destined to die of a heart attack. I figured it ran in the family. It was your genetics. Well, what runs in the family is eating bad foods. It wasn't a meal in my house unless we had meat. It had to have meat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
And I just ate poorly. I ate the standard American diet.
Well, and they talk about, you know, getting diseases, it's the way you eat. They've even done some studies with dogs saying if you feed your table scraps to the dog, then chances are it's going to do it.
That's not healthy for a dog. They were
No.
not designed. God did not create them eating table scraps.
No,
They're
exactly.
carnivores.
Especially the table scraps that standard American diet offers.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then bringing up my dad, I'll also bring up my mom, who she had, I think, in the course of her life. Now, she lived, you know, I won't say super old, but she lived a long life. For the last 26 years of her life, or even before that, I mean, during that last 30 years, she'd had 4 pacemakers put in, and the last couple of years of her life, she was on full-time oxygen and 26 medications a day.
Oh, you're telling me.
Remember that? So that's why I wore this shirt. If you can see this shirt. Should I stand up?
Please.
Okay, hopefully it'll cut me off. What does it say, Al?
It says plants, not pills.
Yes, exactly. And so I will...
Let me interrupt you for
Please
a moment.
do.
Because before I went on this diet, I was on the standard American diet. I was taking over 20 pills a day. And I cut it back to 8, and I'm still getting off of pills. I take no pills for my heart anymore. It's just amazing what this diet can do for you.
Well, and I just want to read you, I know I quoted this book last podcast, but he also has a great section here about the pharmaceutical antibiotics versus nature's parasite, drugs and stuff. And he says, here's the bad news. At least 2.5 million people enter the hospital each year from adverse reactions to chemical medications. At least 180,000 people die each year from chemical medications. Some have estimated that to be over 500,000, and that's from the Washington Post. Around 100,000 people die each year, I never know how to pronounce this, iatrogenic diseases, and those are actually diseases caused by allopathic physicians. And depending upon the study that you look at, it's either the third or fourth leading cause of death, depending upon where you're going with that. Heart disease, of course, is number one. So 100,000 people die each year from hospital errors. You have a 1 in 200 chance of dying in a hospital from hospital errors. So that's just something you want to think of when you're deciding, should I go whole food plant-based, like look at Al, no medication, or should I rely on some of these pharmaceutical drugs?
No, but drastically cut back.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. And you even mentioned Esther before.
Oh, my friend Esther.
Esther, yeah. Talk about the different drugs she was on, and she was able to, even on the website, you posted that how many drugs she was able to get off of.
Yes.
So it's another reason to read this book, and it will be up on our website.
Another reason to go whole food plant-based.
Of course.
All right.
We want you to continue that. Now, we don't know when you're going to be watching this. You might be watching this in 2021, and everybody's on our cruise and doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as we speak right now, it's really important. March 24th, should I say the year?
Go ahead.
March 24th, 2020. We want to make sure that you're staying healthy, no matter what your circumstance is. All right. So, what other thing did you do to stay healthy this week? Please write in and tell us what you did. Hal, what other healthy thing?
We've already talked.
No, it's something different because it's a new week. Yes, we have on new shirts. It's a new week.
Wink, wink.
So tell us the other thing you did to stay healthy, okay?
I do the same things. I'm in a routine. Welcome to my life. I eat the same breakfast every morning. I take the dog for a walk every morning. Now, I do vary the walk. Sometimes I go
sometimes you go right, sometimes you go left.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't have a very varied life, except for this podcast, which I'm never sure why I started this or why I'm still doing it.
He knows because he loves you.
And
our mission is to keep you on our whole food plant-based journey.
Staying alive,
and also
it's a good quality of life. That's the important thing.
Exactly.
I make fun of my life, but I really enjoy it.
And consistency is the key with a lot of life.
I prefer consistency to dough.
Exactly, as opposed to a boring routine.
Yeah.
Consistency is the key, and those little things that you might think don't make a big difference, they really do, whether it's getting up every morning and doing some yoga or exercising, just that.
Be consistent with your good habits.
Yes.
It's very easy to get into a habit and make a habit out of something you do that doesn't help you or your body or your mind or your spirit.
And they say that about so many things, to be more mindful, but try to be mindful when you're eating, when you're thinking, even when you're watching something. Is this something that will help me physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? If the answer is no, then how about doing something else? Because there are so many resources out there that will help you with that.
We would like to think we're one of those resources.
We would like to think we're the only resource. No, I'm teasing. We don't want you to, but because we are really transparent with our resources and with things that we're sharing, and we do
We can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
And I don't know, anybody can do what I do, which is barely nothing. So okay, so one thing. So that's just talking about my mom and dad right now, and my sister, and those negative situations can still have a positive effect on you.
Yes.
Which I know I know that sounds maybe
No,
morbid,
no.
but
It's not if you fail, it's how you handle your failures.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of a segue off, but no. In every life, you have positive and you have negative. It's how you handle the negative, whether you let it affect you in a positive or negative manner. In both of these cases, we had a death, which is inevitable, where we are dealing with it in a positive manner.
And I think that holds true for a lot of us in our age range, is that we know death is inevitable, true, but how do we want to spend the last years of our lives?
Yes.
I want to be with my grandson, my 2.5-year-old rambunctious, who just, you be around him and there's so much joy, just because he's not bombarded with all this news stuff and all this anxiety stuff and all this worry. He's just there to, come on, Grandma, let's go. And I want to be able to go. I want to be able to have fun.
Yeah, that's right. I always would say I want to die in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming and yelling like his car passenger.
Exactly. Thanks, Al. I say this prayer every night. Dear God, it's okay if you take me tonight, but don't make it painful.
There you go.
I want to just, anyway, okay, so off that. So here we are, we're alive, we want to stay healthy for whatever reason. I think we've made this joke before, like people will say, like, what's your ichigai, which is the part of the blue zones, which is part of the Japanese as far as what's your purpose of living. It says, what motivates you to get out of bed every morning? For me, I joke, I have to go to the bathroom, but they mean I gotta go potty. Okay, but I think they're thinking of a bigger purpose,
That motivates me several times at night.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking the truth, we heard the bells again.
There you go.
So as you probably know, we're right now in the midst of this, excuse me, I gotta let the dog out. Sorry, Greg. Okay. Of this virus that's causing quarantine, self-isolation. Maybe all of you aren't, but most of you are, which can create a lot of anxiety, stress, and worry. So I'm watching this great video. It's a YouTube. It's with Dr. Judson Brewer and Lewis Howes. And he's talking about how the anxiety, the stress, the hopelessness, that can be worse for you than maybe even the disease.
Yeah.
And because chances are, if you're really healthy, you are not going to get it. But all this anxiety and stress, so I want to post this on our website. You could just, if you don't want to wait to go to the website, just Google YouTube Judson Brewer and Lewis Howes, and I've got it hooked up right now. I think I've watched all but the last 10 minutes. And he's a psychiatrist who talks about how this can just have a real damaging effect, which made me think.
How long is his
his YouTube is exactly 35 minutes, and
okay.
I'm 22 minutes into it.
All right.
So, but one thing he talks about is hope. And when I was watching this, I thought, okay, let's be hopeful. We're hope. And I thought of this acronym. Those of you who know me know I love acronyms. Here's my HOPE acronym. Hanging on to positive energy. And I hope we are creating that by these podcasts,
yes.
Is the positive energy. Because we don't know, come on in, baby boy. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if it's, a hurricane or the virus or what have you. But we do want to have hope that for right now, for today, that your day is going to be okay. Are you writing down something, or do you want to comment on that?
No.
Okay. The reason I couldn't, you were at Schmidt yesterday buying some beans and rice, which we mentioned that they do have the organic rice and the heirloom beans. But I was watching a webinar, and it's a great webinar. It was done by Scott Stoll, Stoll. It was a live presentation. He was taking, questions and answering them, just kind of surrounding the virus, but more importantly, keeping yourself healthy and positive. And of course, he touched on our SHEEP acronym. S for sleep, Talked about how important that is, 7 to 9 hours. H for healthy eating, E for exercise. Did I forget something? Healthy eating, E for exercise. Enjoy socializing, and he talked about how important that is. So maybe you're, again, as we've mentioned, socializing might be a little bit different, but this is socializing. Connect with us. Email us. Talk to us. I've given out my cell phone number. You can text me. Keep whatever way you can socializing so you still feel engaged. And then P, positive attitude, which is huge.
Yes.
Don't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So those are just some good ways, some different ways. So I wanted to touch upon how we doing. Talk for just a second. Yes.
I'm a little remiss in doing this, but
Okay.
I've noticed your new earrings.
Oh, you noticed my new earrings. What are they, Al? Thank
They
you.
are pears.
Because we make such a great pair.
Oh, what a good pun.
Yes, don't we? Yes. Okay. Pears, and I wore these specifically because Al told me what color, if I have some yellow. But also...
They go with her banana.
But this was really important to me, tying again into my dad's issue, but his favorite fruit was pears.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was so glad when you picked that. I thought, okay, I'm not going to bring it up. I go, yes, I am, because just that energy. He loved pears, mainly pear cobbler. But you can make pear cobbler now. They have great recipes for it.
They do.
Especially the Esselstyns have the. And if you get a chance, have you ever put that on the website? Their little videos are darling.
They are.
Ann and Jane Esselstyn.
Yes.
If you get a chance, that's.
Put those on the video.
Okay. Esselstyn, that's Esselstyn. And when you think Al and I have this sort of, different energy of arguing and stuff. They're mother-daughter.
Not
and
arguing.
they don't argue.
They have a good interaction.
Yeah, and, of course.
That's the term I prefer.
I love that. Well, because some people in the comments said, why are you always arguing with your mom? Or what? They're not really arguing.
No.
That's just the way they interact. And
yeah.
so if I say something that Al doesn't agree with, you'll obviously hear with it right away. But then when I start talking, you'll hear the bells and the chimes go off, indicating
I've got them rigged.
I am right. Yeah, basically doing that. I also want to put a shout out for this kind of water. No, I don't get a commission or anything. Obviously, it's not in plastic, which is really good. And they have different flavors. I'm drinking today the rose and watermelon one, which is absolutely delicious. And it's called Flow. We want to go with the flow. Kind of a theme going on, right? Going with the flow. And they have plain ones, but these fruit ones are really good. So you don't have to just buy them at Whole Foods. They have them at Sunrise Natural Foods, which I know pretty soon we're going to be nationwide, not just local. So if you want to visit your local health food store, I'm sure they carry these. Amazon carries them though too, if you want to have them delivered through Amazon. Again, we don't get a commission, but we should probably look into that Amazon affiliate.
We should.
Yeah, okay.
Speaking of Amazon, which is a segue to nowhere, but I ordered some business cards for us from card stock from Amazon, and usually they give it overnight. Amazon Prime now is a week delivery.
Yeah, and we
So
know
we
that's
know
going to
why.
go back.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, that'll go back soon.
Maybe that's the new normal. That's the old normal. Wait a week for delivery. All right, back to the book.
All right, so back to my book. We were talking about healthy habits. So I want to just read the 9 healthy habits that this guy suggests. And his name is Robert Morse, naturopathic doctor. And again, when this book jumped out at me, I didn't even know it had anything to do with whole food plant-based. If you're strictly McDougall or maybe strictly Esselstyn, you might not appreciate this because he does believe in juices and smoothies. So does Dr. Stoll. And they're not arguing. They just have a different...
Well, I don't think anybody is against juices and smoothies. They just think you have to be careful not to over-caloric. Let's see how to say that. Not to eat too many calories in too short a period of time.
And another thing, too, is that when you're drinking a fruit smoothie, remember you want to take as long to drink it as it would be to eat that amount of fruits and vegetables.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's important too. So here's Dr. Morse's 9 healthy habits. Number 1, be good to yourself. Especially important during this time of the season we're going through. But any day is really important to be good to yourself. Al, how would you say you're good to yourself?
I baby myself. I spoil myself. I'm the
Perfect.
most important person in my life.
Not at this table, but yeah.
Oh, at this table.
Well, it's funny because I always talk about my daughter's dogs, who I love, but I always say, I don't know if there's such a thing as reincarnation, but if there is, I want to come back as one of my daughter's dogs. I mean, she has a stroller for him, and this for him, and that for him, and Mom, only let him drink filtered water, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I give them filtered water, and then what do? They go out in the back and drink from the gutter, you know? Or the water that seeps through all the plants that I have, they're drinking that up. So.
All right, how many we got to go?
Okay, we got to, we have a couple more. Okay, be good to yourself. Email us telling us how you're going to be good to yourself, and we're going to read those next week.
Yes.
Even if you have to make them up. Okay, meditation. Remember to relax, relax, and relax. This can be a stressful time. What can you do? See, look, you can use this for insomnia. If you're dealing with insomnia, tune us into our podcast, and it will deal with your insomnia. Number 3, exercise. We've talked about that many times.
Very good.
Jack LaLanne always said it was exercise and then food.
He lived into his 90s, healthy all the way.
Yes, I am not gonna. What did he do? Swam and pulled a
swam and
rowboat
pulled
or
a boat,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not doing that. But anyway, so he put exercise as king and food as queen. Where I think Esselstyn and some of those have put food as king, exercise as queen. That sounds kind of.
Esselstyn actually doesn't recommend any exercise at all for his people like me that were on death's door. He just says, eat right.
Eat right, and that I think starts turning your life around.
It does.
And it's like the what do they call it? The law of entropy. Everything's gonna spiral down until you put some positive energy into it. That's why I would love, even though I do not talk about going on a fast, I go on a media fast. I refuse to listen to
That's a good idea.
the gloom and doom, and Dr. Stoll talks about that. He says, cut that out right away because you need to put some positive energy into your life to create more of a positive life. And so I am really careful about that. Not, even though sometimes it'll pop up, you know, especially on your phone or something.
Yes.
Tune that out. They're only there to, I think, amp up the hysteria and the whole thing. So relax, exercise, deep breathing. I talked about being in my hyperbaric chamber and doing some deep breathing. But even if you're not in the hyperbaric chamber, just slow down your breath. Breathe in.
And you do that in yoga.
I do that in yoga, Tai Chi. Even before you're going to bed, if you breathe in maybe 8 times, exhale to the count of 10 because it's the exhalation that focuses more on the relaxation. All right, so we've done be good to yourself, meditate, relax, exercise, deep breathing, dry skin brushing, which, yeah, I know. I talked about that. I think I did in the
You did.
first take.
And the one that didn't work.
The one that didn't work, yeah. I said, I don't know about any of the rest of you.
Some might say none of these work.
Yeah, but they would be negative.
They would be.
Dry skin brushing.
And we would ignore them.
So how many of you then wake up in the morning and go, am I a human snow globe? It's just like, what is all this dry skin coming from? So he says, in order to counteract that, do some dry skin brushing.
I find it easier just to get up in the morning and shed my skin.
Yeah, like a snake,
Like a
okay?
snake.
Yeah, somebody else take. It's funny, I don't have any dandruff, but sometimes my skin is so dry. All right. Saunas and steam baths, which you might not be one of, you can't visit your steam bath or your sauna at your health club. So you can create your own steam bath in the shower, shut the door, you know, get it all hot and do that. I used to joke about, and this is only a joke, so when you use your Instant Pot, put it on manual release, and then you get all that steam. Don't you dare do that. You'll come down with probably 3rd-degree burns. But I kind of used it as a joke. But don't really do that, because everything I say is very serious, and I don't want you to take that serious. They talk about slant boarding. I used to have this business when I used gravity inversion boots, and I called it Hang In There.
I like that.
Wasn't that hilarious?
I like that.
I don't use the boots anymore, but I do use a slant board. Anything to keep your feet above your heart is beneficial. And there's this guy who does radio advertisement. He sells a lot of stuff, but he talks about the benefits of backaches or whatever and hanging upside down. So I have a gravity inversion table, which I'm going to start using more often now that I have so much time. But I need to start using that. I did it yesterday and it felt so good because I think I had created a Netflix backache. One day I watched couple of days ago, 3 Netflix, maybe one was Amazon Prime movies at the same time, slouched in my bed. And I'm like, oh, as soon as I hung upside down, it felt so much better. Habit number 8, color therapy or sunlight. Sunlight is important.
It is. I didn't get enough vitamin D because I
Right.
haven't gotten the sun enough.
And-
I always cover up when I go out.
And maybe that's going to be a positive. Now with everybody out taking a walk in the sunlight, that can be a positive. Number 9, foot and hand reflexology, which I have not done. Okay, and maybe you can't do that for. There's even a reflexology where you can actually do it to yourself. Take your, it doesn't have to be going to a reflexologist. So those are just 9 of his healthy habits. You can email us and tell us what you're doing to stay healthy, or ones you've tried that maybe we haven't tried, and just keep hoping. And remember, that's hanging on to positive energy. Keep eating right, doing the exercise, and let us know. Connect with us. You've got our email address. You've got
go
our
to the
cell phone
website.
numbers, our website.
You've got
Anything you can do.
resources on the website.
Resources, yes.
Tell somebody at the door. I guess.
Oh, that means we're done. They come to see a podcast live inside your house.
All
Thank
right.
you very much. We
Keep
will
those cards and letters coming,
keep those emails and Instagram,
what she says.
which I always say, which we still need Instagram. So if you want to help us with that, write in and tell us how to do that. We love you guys. Stay healthy. If there's anything we can do to help you, please contact us.